Hey best friends! Welcome back to another video. It's your girl Shanese Danae. If you are new here, I create videos when it comes to locks, how to build your business, as well as how to be an entrepreneur here on YouTube. But I wanted to create this video mainly because I just been receiving a lot of questions when it comes to lock extensions, and I kind of want you guys to not get caught up in the scam. Okay, and yeah, so if you're interested in this video, then keep watching.
Why don't you get it by now? Tell me what you learned in grade school. Give it to me like you want it. Did you forget that golden rule?
Alright, so first of all, lock extensions can definitely be a scam, only because I feel like this is something that's gaining a lot of popularity. Not a lot of people have lock extensions, and it's something that's new, that's evolving like really fast right now, especially in 2020. Okay, so if you're somebody that's looking to get lock extensions, it's one of those things where it's like you don't know where to start because there's not a lot of research out there that can actually help you make the best decision for your hair, rather if you are adding lock extensions to your natural locks or if you are just starting from scratch from 4 inches of hair and just adding lock extensions onto that. All right, so I kind of wanted to go over a few things that hopefully help you guys on making a good decision on the person that's going to be doing your hair, as well as not getting caught up in a scam. All right, so I've been receiving questions about, like, I don't know how much I should charge. I feel like $800 is too much, $1,000 is too much. So you would rather pay $200 to get your hair done but then be mad, right? So I don't get it. I really don't get it. But I kind of wanted to explain to you guys why it's important to, I wouldn't say that try to find someone that's charging you like $1,000 to do your hair, etc., etc. But honestly, you have to think about it this way. If you're getting lock extensions, you don't have to get your hair done like you were to do like weaves and wigs and braids. But if you actually calculated how much money you spend a year on hair, it's definitely over $1,000. So being upset about paying $1,000 to get your hair done is a little absurd to me, because if you think about how much you spend on buying the supplies as well as getting your hair done, it's literally more than if you were to pay somebody to actually do your hair the right way, right? So now there may be someone that's out there that's just getting started, like a stylist that's just getting started on how to do lock extensions, and they might do your hair correct. But the reason why I say that it's a scam, guys, is because you have to be careful to make sure that this person is using human hair. Okay, so if your hair is the following: if it's itchy, if it feels like it's scratching your skin, if it is shedding like crazy, 9 times out of 10 that stylist did not use human hair, they used a synthetic blend of hair. Now there is a possibility that the stylist already knew that they're not adding human hair into your hair, and there is a chance that they don't know. They probably got scammed as well. So it's one of those things that you really want to do your research on and make sure that that person is putting the right hair in your head. So I would ask them, you know, like, is it 100% human? Where is your distributor from? I just want to make sure that what you're putting in my head is human hair. Like, they can't get mad at you because you want to make sure that they're giving you what they said versus just trusting them. Because if you're paying over $800, even if you're paying over $300, your hair should be the way that you pay for. Okay, so one of the reasons why it's a scam is because a lot of people are, you know, like I said, using synthetic blend, or they're sewing your hair in without you knowing, and your locks are like coming apart, they're slipping out. Or if, again, the lock ratio, listen, if your lock ratio is wrong, you're going to notice that there is a break in your lock. Okay, I don't know how many times that I can explain this to you guys, but definitely if your lock ratio is wrong. So I want to spend a little bit of time here and break that down, exactly what that is. So your lock ratio is basically your parts, right? So the way that your parts are designed for your particular head. So the fact that you guys ask, how many locks do you have? Listen, your lock count is for you and only for you. It is not for anyone else. I have a tiny little bean head, so I have 103 locks, but it may look like I have a lot because my hair is super thick. All of this plays a factor in how big your locks are going to be. Now, there are some locticians out there that claim that they're locticians and they really don't know much about the lock ratio, especially one of the reasons why this is so important when you're getting lock extensions is because when your hair is growing out, your natural lock can grow out thinner than the lock extension that they had applied it. So that's when the lock count ratio matters the most, and you want to make sure that you're in the right hands with a loctician that knows their stuff. If they do not part your hair correctly, you are going to know within your first year of having your permanent lock extensions that you're going to have so many like thinning areas in your locks wherever your natural lock meets, well, your natural lock meets the what is it called? The lock extension is going to break. It's going to be super thin in that area. Now this can still happen obviously with someone that knows what they're doing, but that's how you know you have a really bad set of locks, if you notice more than like 2 in your head that are starting to break in that particular area. Okay, I hope that this makes sense. I just really want you guys to make a good decision, as well as just not get played out here in these streets, because I feel like a lot of people are doing people wrong, and it's not okay. Like, it's not okay. Now if you feel comfortable and you want to give it a shot to do it yourself, by all means, save your coins, sis, do what you have to do. But I can recommend that be careful wherever you are even buying your like bulk hair to get your lock extensions installed. One of the other things that I want to talk about is the quality again of the hair. If you can't even dye your hair, like if your loctician is basically telling you like you can't dye this is just permanent only, but it can't be dyed, that is a telltale sign, y'all, that that is not human hair. So do not get that installed in your head, because it's just not human hair. Okay, you have to think about it. This is a lot of labor. This is a whole lot of labor. The person is actually making your lock per lock, rather if you have 60 locks, rather if you have 250 locks, they are hand making your locks. That is a lot of labor. Okay, this is something that is not a cheap hairstyle. This is not you getting box braids. Okay, box braids can run anywhere between 150 all the way up to 280 depending on how small, how long, etc. So I don't see why people are getting mad about paying close to $1,000 or a little bit more just to get this installed. Guys, listen, if you want to be cheap, you want to have a cheap style, and you're going to be mad because you're going to have to cut your locks out. So if you're thinking about that factor, about how much time is going into making your locks, honestly, it can even take about a week or even 2 weeks to even create all your locks, because again, they have to do it by hand, and then on top of the fact that they have to install it by hand. Okay, so that's already enough labor in itself. And then obviously they want to make a profit, etc., on how much money they're spending on the hair and all of that fun jazz. Now next, I want to talk about the different questions that you want to ask the loctician prior to you booking your consultation. Now, you should have a consultation in general, okay, because they need to know how long your hair is, if it's completely natural, if it has heat damage. All of this plays a factor in how well your hair is going to mature, or your locks are going to mature, in the longevity of you having your lock extensions. Okay, so definitely if they don't ask you these questions, at least you have this kind of template to go off of. So the first thing I want you guys to ask is, how long have you been a loctician for? That's really important. You want to know and make sure that you feel completely confident in this person that's going to be doing your hair, this loctician that's going to be doing your hair, or even if they're not a certified loctician, regardless, you want to make sure that they know their stuff. The next question you want to ask is obviously, where are they getting their hair from? Is it 100% human hair? Is it a mixture of synthetic blend? Remember, that's what you want to stay away from. You do not want any synthetic hair in your hair, period. Like, that's just something that you just don't want. And then the next step is I would ask them, how do you determine the lock size? Okay, so this is kind of like a trick question, because they can either go left with this or they can go the right way, right? They can say, oh, well, we just part and kind of go from there. If they say that, that's a red flag. If they say, well, your lock count ratio depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how thick your hair is. It depends on, you know, if your hair is heat damaged, if it's not heat damaged. If they say that, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm in good hands. Like, they know what they're talking about. If they're only giving you a consultation and they're not even asking you for any pictures, guys, they're not asking you for pictures when your hair is in its natural state, or even if they're not telling, if they're trying to do a consultation without video call or in person, again, this is a red flag. This is something that you want to stay away from, because they're at that point, they're just in it for the money. And sometimes you want to really be careful, because you don't want someone in your head that's just doing it for a buck versus actually having a passion for it. Because I feel like, and this is something that really like drives me crazy, because I hate when people are just doing things for money. I don't know, maybe because it's the type of person that I am. Like, if I have a passion about something, I'm gonna give you guys the truth. Even if I'm wrong, I'm still gonna let you guys know, like, listen, this is what happened, I was wrong, I apologize. But now we live in a world where people are just not organic. They're not telling you guys the truth. So I really want you guys to watch this video, learn something, do your research on top of it, so that way you're in the right hands whenever you're making a decision to go ahead and move forward with your lock extensions. Another scam to look out for is to determine if they're adding lock extensions that are all the same length. There are times when they say that, okay, you paid for, I don't know, 10 inches, but they only gave you 6 inches. And then they kind of like manipulate you and say, well, depending on how long your lock is, that means that your hair could be 10 inches long. No, you are paying for exactly the length of that particular lock extension, right? So if your lock extension is different lengths and you notice like in the back that they're all multiple lengths, then that means that they did not apply the right length. Okay, so be careful, be careful, because once they are in, they are in. And I want you guys to not go through the horror stories or the mistakes of your lock extensions. I want you guys to be happy with your decision, because it is definitely like, I don't regret my decision. I am having like one of the most amazing experiences so far with my extensions. Just be mindful, my hair was locked first, and I'm not sure if that plays a factor, but again, I love everything about my hair. Okay, so I'm talking about myself. I don't want to talk about myself. Okay, so yeah, you want to make sure that your bulk of your lock extensions that you are receiving are all the same length. So now, when you get your hair installed, depending on how long your natural hair is, so say for example you had a bob in the back and your hair was longer in the front, then obviously your hair in the back is going to be shorter than your hair in the front. So be mindful on how long your natural hair is prior to you getting your lock extensions. But don't be fooled, okay? If you are paying for 10 inches of a permanent lock extension, then that extension needs to be 10 inches, period. Also be mindful that if you happen to change your mind, let's say you were to get 12 inches installed, right, and they're too long and they are a little bit longer than you thought because your hair is naturally 10 inches, they can cut that in half. And that will also save you money. If your loctician is not willing to give you money back as well, obviously this is like a personal choice, but for example, I don't even think I paid like I think I paid less than $1,000 when I got my hair done, because I didn't even use all of my lock extensions, and I just told her, like, she gave me the option if I wanted my money back or if I wanted to keep them. I just told her like I didn't want them because what I was going to do with them, and she gave me like, I want to say $350 back. Okay, so that right there is good customer service. So just make sure that they're just, I mean, I'm not saying that they have to do that, because obviously that's a personal choice based on the stylist, but that tells you a lot about the customer service. Okay, if everything's included, then I think that paying over like $800 and up, depending on how many locks that you have, is reasonable. But if you aren't paying for everything and they want $1,000 and you have to buy your own bulk and do all this stuff, then I think personally that that's a little bit ridiculous. But again, that's also my opinion. Now, if you're paying only $200 to get your hair done, sis, I'm gonna tell you right now that that's just ain't it, unless the person is like just getting started. But I would still be a little bit iffy about that, sis. I don't know, because that right there, that's risk. That's a big risk right there. But hey, if you want to save your coins, I am not mad at you. Yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to make this quick video for you guys, and I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions and you want me to do a lock Q&A when it comes to permanent lock extensions, go ahead and leave me a comment down below, because you guys know I always try my best to support you guys and answer any questions that you have. I'm pretty much an open book. But if you like more videos from your girl, make sure that you hit that little subscribe button. But until next time, you know what I always say. Deuces!
wanna have.